All right, y'all. So I'm back. My video shut off on me, but I did keep saying that I was going to have to do a part two. So, I don't see anything as being a coincidence. I'm kind of glad that it happened that way because it gives me the opportunity to come in and really get into the other questions that I have here. And so, where we left off was talking about how the church is affecting and influencing the black woman. Obviously, this is not the case for every single black woman that's in the church, but this is energetically what I'm picking up on in terms of the majority. And so the cards that came out was she's the black woman is going to church being comfortable with the praise, okay? The praise that she's receiving from those around her, the accolades and the praise that she receives for going to church. But she's codependent on that energy, codependent on the attention, and then at the same time feeling as if somehow she's able to go through this death and rebirth each time she goes to church. So this might be influencing her to the point where she feels like, okay, well, I have to go, and you know how I remember when I was in church, I felt like I always had to go and get saved again. I had to go and be reborn again. And so if there was an altar call, which that's a whole nother subject in and of itself. If there was an altar call, I was one of those people who would be emotionally drawn to go to the altar call to get saved again or to get reborn again because of all the things that I was going through. I was very highly emotional at that time. And so it was something where I was drawn to do it multiple times over. And so I feel like this is how it's influencing and affecting the black woman, where she's going in and this death and rebirth. It's like, okay, I want to go in and this might save me from all of the pain, because the Ten of Swords came out twice, okay? The Ten of Swords came out twice, which is pain, betrayal. Ten of Swords again, going through all of this heartache. She feels, feeling as if the church is going to help her to balance this energy out, but meanwhile, still feeling very insecure. Queen of Pentacles is in the reverse is someone who's very insecure, very unstable, ungrounded. And then the Empress is someone who is not healing, someone who lacks self-love, lacks self-care, very insecure again. And so these two cards came out together to indicate that she's feeling depleted or losing a lot financially, but there is someone over here who's taking it at the same time, okay, which could be the church structure, okay. And in this energy, the only thing I feel that she's receiving from the church structure is the accolades for going, the praise for going, and then feeling as if it balances her. She's balanced out at least on those Sundays that she goes to church. But outside of that, there's a lot of energy here of no forward movement, lack of self-love, lack of healing, instability, ungrounded, codependent, betrayal. It's just a lot of that energy. And then what came out of my other deck is the black woman is being affected. This particular card says a disconnect from the spiritual nature. And then this one says weakens the man and the woman. And so initially, if you go back to the first video, which I hope you all have seen at this point, the black man, I spoke on how it weakens him and emasculates him and makes him feel like he's not in, having power or in charge of his life, and how he felt like he was kind of in the shadows of the black woman in the church structure. This card is actually following up to pretty much clarify that, okay, that the man and woman is weakened in the church structure. Empress is in the reverse here for the black woman. Emperor was in the reverse for the black man. So it's very clear what it's doing to the dynamic of the divine unions that should be coming together, as well as how it is affecting or having a lack of influence on empowering people to step into their divinity and to take their power back, to heal, to know who they are. Okay. Then we have here this one about disconnect from the spiritual nature. I was bringing up how I spoke on the chess game and how the spiritual strategy of the enemy is played out like chess in the spiritual realm, where we speak about the queens and the kings, the pawns and all of these things. And the queen, being the most powerful piece on the board, is able to embody the energy of the rook and the bishop. The bishop is the one that deals with the religious structure. And so because the black church is dominated and predominantly filled with black women, they are the ones that are more manipulated. I feel like they're manipulated more through emotion, um, to be able to, it's like they're harnessing the energy of the black woman, because as the queen, she's the one on the board that can make all of these moves, whereas the king is very limited in how far he can move on a chessboard. And so it's showing me that the black man is being limited in his forward movement under the church structure, and the black woman is causing a disconnect from her spiritual nature. Okay. In the other part of the reading for the black man, the high priestess was in the reverse, which would be the woman having that divine connection in the spiritual realm, being able to hear the messages that are coming through on a spiritual level, understanding the mysteries of the spiritual realm. Okay. The black woman is not encouraged for the black woman to tap into her intuitive wisdom or to understand things beyond the confounds of the church structure. Okay. If she generally, the church, it disencourages going out and learning more, expanding your knowledge, expanding your horizons or your knowledge base. And so it keeps you stuck. So the black woman is stuck with the Eight of Wands in reverse, no forward movement. And this would also be about receiving those intuitive messages from the Most High, from the spiritual realm, not able to receive those because she's blocked. Why? Because she's not able to heal, because she's feeling codependent. She's dealing with codependencies, because she's dealing with these multiple situations that's causing a lot of pain. Okay. And because of the pain, she's dependent largely on the church to help mend and to help balance her back out when she goes there on Sundays, maybe Wednesdays, some Saturdays, whatever days she goes. But it never takes her off the hamster wheel of betrayal, pain, lack of self-love, lack of stability, releasing her from codependent energy. So how else is the church affecting the black woman? Then I want to look at how it's affecting the connections. Look at this. Wasting the sexual energy. Wasting her sexual energy. Okay? That's what I picked up on when I saw this Knight of Wands here. Okay? This Knight of Wands deals with someone who can be promiscuous, a little bit flighty in their energy. And I feel like, yeah, anytime you're in the Empress in the reverse energy and you're in the Queen of Pentacles in reverse energy, then you are strongly dealing with a lack of self-love. And lack of self-love will lead you into this energy of wasting your sexual energy on people that do not really love you, that really don't have a care for you outside of what you can do for them sexually. But because she's seeking love, because she's seeking approval, because she's codependent on praise and approval and attention, then the black woman ends up wasting her sexual energy and having partners that do not end up going any further than the surface. Okay. So this is definitely affecting the connections between the black man and woman, because with the Empress coming out in the reverse, the Emperor coming out in the reverse, two people that are not healed cannot come together to create together. They cannot come together to create a solid foundation. Okay. There's no longevity, or if there is a long-term relationship, it's going to be a very painful one that's filled with karmic lessons. And if you're not able to step outside of the confounds of certain belief systems, then you never understand the importance of going within and doing the work to heal. At least you don't understand how to do it, because you're being told not to seek outside of your pastor's instruction. Okay. Outside of what your minister or your deacon tells you, or the mother in the church tells you. And so the church is affecting, so far, it's not having a very good effect on the black man and woman, based on what's coming out energetically. Not what I'm saying, what's coming out energetically. So let me go to the next question. How is the church affecting the partnerships between the black man and woman? How is the church affecting the partnerships between the black man and woman? Look at this, y'all. Five of Swords, and the Moon. Okay, lots of secrets, manipulation, betrayal, backstabbing, third party situations. I told y'all, two people that's not healed and that don't love themselves cannot love one another. You have a false illusion of love, but it's not real. So how is the church affecting the partnerships of the black man and woman? Okay, look at this, y'all. Emperor in the reverse and the king, the Knight of Swords. So this is a lot of aggression. Okay, the Emperor in the reverse is somebody who's very controlling, because he feels like he really has no control. Internally, he feels like he has no control, and so he over exerts himself in terms of being controlling. The Knight of Swords is somebody who's very aggressive in their approach, very aggressive in their energy, okay? How it's influencing the partnerships of the black man and woman? It's causing a lot of aggression. It's causing the black man, he feels disempowered, he feels emasculated, and so in order to compensate for that, he overdoes it. He goes above and beyond in terms of trying to control. And so this would be someone who's very aggressive and potentially even abusive in their energy. How is the church affecting the black man and woman in terms of unions? How is it affecting them? How is it affecting the partnerships of the black man and woman? So I have the Star here and the Six of Pentacles. Yeah. I strongly feel like, because the Star card can indicate healing, but with the Emperor in the reverse and the Knight of Swords, that's an aggressive energy where this person feels like they just have no control, loss of self-control. I feel like this is the same thing as that energy of, this would be representation of the black man and woman right here. And this would be representation of the pastor, or the person that's in a position of authority within the church structure. It's like this actually looks like a woman right here, and this one looks like the man. So it's like the woman is able to receive, it's like crumb feeding the woman, and then the man is feeling as if, yeah, because the justice came out for how it's affecting the black man. So the man feels like he's balancing out his karmic justice by going to the church, and the black woman feels like she's able to potentially receive something, but being crumb fed at the same time by going to the church. And here's this person up here in their ego, having control over his fate, or over how he feels about his own karma and justice, and then how she feels about in terms of what she's able to receive, but being crumb fed at the same time. And so both of these people are still on their knees, okay? The church is affecting couples by, okay, you stay on your knees, you stay in this energy of begging and pleading, you stay in this energy of being helpless, okay? Being helpless and at the mercy of someone who is in a position of authority, or a position that's higher than you, because these people would not be on their knees unless they was begging. They wouldn't be on their knees unless they felt that this person was in a position of authority where they had to bow down to this person, okay? And so it's like the black man feels like, okay, well, if I go to church, then I'm balancing out my karma, because he knows how he is outside of church. Very angry, very aggressive, feeling like he lacks control, lacks self-control, lacks personal power, strength, okay, feels emasculated. And then the black woman feels, well, I can potentially receive something from this, okay? And the thing is, when you look at this picture, his hands are still out, but the woman is the one that's actually receiving. His hands are out. He's receiving nothing except the justice scales over his head. So, all right, this will balance things out for you in terms of the karmic debt that you have. Okay, as long as you're at my mercy and you're willing to bow down to me, you're willing to stay in a position of submissive before me, okay, the actual church structure, those who are in a position of authority within the church structure or over the church structure as a whole, governmental systems as well with the justice symbol there. As long as you stay in this position of inferiority and you submit to me, then I will balance things out for you in terms of your karma, but you will not receive anything. I'm not going to give you anything, even though your hands are out. I'm going to give to the woman, and then she's going to determine how much you're able to receive as a result of what I give to her. And so that's where I feel that the black man feels as if the woman is placed on a pedestal or given more praise within the church structure and may be able to receive more help, even though I don't know that the church is really helping. That's why I'm going to look into where is the tithes going. But I do feel that it's that energy of being crumb fed, and then she's the one that's going to establish, okay, well, I'll give you this based on what I was able to receive. And yeah, this man, he's not even looking at the man, he's looking at the woman, okay? He's looking at the woman. And so, yeah, it's this energy of staying in this position of submission and inferiority, hoping that it will heal your situation, hoping that it will balance things out, hoping that you'll be able to move towards wish fulfillment. But I don't see it that way. I see it as being keeping the black man and woman stuck and never being able to rise up. Because again, these people are on their knees, okay? And look at this. At the bottom of the deck, the Nine of Swords. A lot of stress, okay? This is what's happening between the unions of the black man and woman. A lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of overthinking, a lot of a lot of pain, okay? A lot of pain, feeling stuck, feeling helpless, a lot of betrayal. How is the church affecting the black man and woman? The unions of the black man and woman. So the world is here. The Six of Cups is here. So the world can indicate cycles closing out. I'm going to clarify these, but it's also this energy of nostalgia, staying, yeah, I feel like it's keeping them staying in this position of not being able to outgrow the past, okay? Because the Six of Cups can also deal with children. It can deal with going back to childhood. It's almost this energy of they're staying stuck in the past, not really being able to close out this cycle of tradition, this cycle of, okay, well, this is what was taught to you growing up. And so let me just see, what is the world and the Six of Cups? So the Ace of Wands in the reverse and the Page of Wands in the upright. The Ace of Wands in reverse deals with having that spark, but things never taken off, okay? It's like things get shut down before it can even get started. And this will be that spark, that excitement, that passion, that zeal, but it never goes anywhere, okay? It never actually takes off. And so I feel like the partnerships, I feel like initially it may make the black man and woman feel like, okay, if we're going to church together, then somehow it's creating some sort of cohesiveness. It's taking them back to what they remember in terms of childhood. It's a very familiar feeling, okay? We go and we do this together, and so we're bonding in a way. They feel like they're bonding in a way. And so, you know, it's that passion, that excitement about doing something new, but then it simmers out very quickly, okay? Because there's, like I mentioned, it's something about once you leave the church, the actual church, the temple itself, and you go on about your life, your daily lives, because it's this energy of not healing, then you go back to chaos. You go back to drama. You go back to betrayal. The sun is in reverse. You go back to feeling unhappy again. Yeah, this is what it's showing. The Eight of Cups here, walking away. But there's the Five of Wands there. A lot of chaos and drama, commotion, you know. So let me see what else comes out. How are the partnerships being influenced by the church structure? The black partnerships being influenced by the church structure. Okay, so it's the Ace of Cups coming out, and then the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. That passion, that love, that excitement, but it's being stopped right in its tracks. There's no forward movement from there. So it's like it can help to awaken that passion. The same scenario with this awakens that passion and that spark, but it doesn't take off. So something is causing it to stop in its tracks, where there's no real healing that actually takes place here between the unions of the black man and woman. And I feel like largely it's because they have to stay in this position of inferiority and submission. And so if you're not able to come out of the confounds of a particular structure, and they tell you, well, you're not able to go and learn other things or learn other ways to heal yourself, so that you can put in the works with the faith, then you just feel stuck. And when you begin to feel stuck, you're going to take it out on the people that's closest to you, which would be your partnership. And so let me just pull from this deck and see, how is the church affecting the unions of the black man and woman? Sexual confusion. Now, we already saw what came out for the man is sexual perversion, and another one that dealt with sexual energy as well, but sexual confusion. And so I told you all in terms of how it's affecting the black male. Anytime a man is emasculated and he doesn't feel like a man, he doesn't feel like he can take his power back, and he's in this position of having to bow down, or feeling inferior to someone else who is in a position that's above him, then it's like, yeah, it does cause him to feel unbalanced, or when it comes to his sexuality, because it's like, well, am I really a man? You know, am I really a man if I can't provide stability, if I can't, if I have to practically beg others for resources? And not only do I have to beg for resources, but they're not giving it to me. They're giving it to the woman that's of the household, but they're crumb feeding her. And then from there, this unhealed woman is going to end up crumb feeding him, and maybe even further emasculating him, because she feels like, well, you're not able to do anything to help this situation financially. You know, so there's something about it's causing sexual confusion anytime you feel like you are less than a man and less than capable of being able to provide for your home. We have here, look at this, dark energies over connections. I told y'all these people are doing dark magic within these churches, black magic, in order to maintain these curses over people. And so that's why I did that video in terms of Christ, Yeshua, the black Messiah, being a ritualistic sacrifice in order to lift up an illusionary white Christ, which is Jesus, the white Christ that you all see plastered everywhere. And the ritual was to emasculate the black man, and to continue to perpetuate the curses over the black man and woman, as long as they cooperated with serving and bowing down and praying to this false image. And so, like I said before, even if they're not visually thinking of a white Christ, which many people do when that image is pushed all of your life for generation after generation, even if you're not, consider that when you go into these particular church structures, there's so many different things that's placed there to give your energy to the system that is directly against the black man and woman. So the U.S. corporation, they are the mastermind behind the church itself, okay? Because before the U.S. corporation, the U.S. government was created, slavery was on the rise. Slavery was present before the U.S. corporation was created. And so those who created the U.S. government are the ones who were the slave masters or not, that I'm not going to call them masters. They were the slave, or they were the kidnappers. They were the criminals, the kidnappers of our ancestors. And they called themselves slave masters. Those were the ones who established or were able to gain positions of authority, especially the more people you kidnapped, the more that you owned, the more power you had, because that meant that you had more resources, more financial stability, financial resources in order to receive whatever power within your community. And so when they begin to build the U.S. corporation, the U.S. government, these same people are the ones that establish what the church would look like and what message would be pushed through those that they gave positions of power within the churches. And so when you have a school of pastoral school, these are the people that establish what what messages would be pushed through, what that would sound like, and what that would look like, okay, and how it would be taught to these people who was over the church. And so yes, dark energies are over the connections. Dark energies are over the black man and woman, and this is why these connections are not able to go past the surface. Yes, that love will be there initially. Yes, that passion will be there initially, and that cohesiveness, that familiar feeling of going to church together will, ignite that spark of feeling like it's going to heal things. But ultimately, they just end up submissive to someone else, submissive to another structure, submissive to someone else in a position of authority, who's crumb feeding them, and that tells them that the only way that they can receive justice, the only way that they can receive balance, the only way that they can receive security is but to stay on their knees in a position of submission. That's literally on their knees before someone else at an altar, which was built and established under an elusive Christ, a false image of a white Christ, which is directly against the spiritual nature of the black man and woman. And this is why the black woman has lost her divine connection of being able to connect in this on a spiritual level. Those who are heavily influenced by the church structure, because it does not promote that. The church structure does not promote going within and awakening your intuitive gifts and having that divine connection to the Most High God, unless it's under the instruction of someone like a pastor or a minister or a deacon, and they're the ones that determines, well, if you heard this, then let me tell you if it was from God, let me tell you if it was from a demon, rather than that woman being able to go within and being able to say, okay, I'm for sure of this because I'm healing, and I know that intuitively, yes, my gifts have been awakened within me, where I know that what I'm being guided to do or what I'm being guided to say, it is coming from a divine connection because I've created it, and I don't need external influences to tell me what that looks like, because I know what it looks like. But yes, dark energies over connections, dark magic, yes, for sure. Look at this. Jezebel spirit. I told you all, in terms of the masculine, we saw what came out was the card of I got so many cards here, but yes, lustful behaviors came out for the masculine, as well as sexual perversions. So the masculine in the church, when he's heavily consumed by the church structure or influenced by the church structure, it actually awakens a Jezebel spirit within him. Okay, this is how the beast is being fed in the spiritual realm through the energy of the black man and woman, who possesses a very powerful ability to have a connection to the Most High and in the spiritual realm, but it gets stopped and it gets cut off when you are heavily influenced by the church structure. Okay, and so dark energies and the Jezebel spirit, this is why there's so much sexual perversion within the church. You find that a lot of pastors end up molesting little boys, or a lot of the women end up in a lot of promiscuous type of relationships. And it's that sexual energy. It's a lot when it comes to sexual energy over the church structure. And I strongly feel that it is because behind that, let me see. what can I pull in terms of what is causing this Jezebel spirit? I just want to see. Where is this Jezebel spirit within the church stemming from? Sexual confusion, dark energies over the connections, Jezebel spirit. Where is this stemming from? And this is why the relationships don't end up lasting, or if they do last for an extended period of time, it's a lot of chaos, a lot of fighting, a lot of backstabbing, cheating. Where is this Jezebel spirit stemming from in terms of black unions within the church structure? So I have here the Chariot in reverse and the Death card coming right behind that, okay? Scattered energy. Not being able to take the reins of your life with this coming out in the reverse, okay? Not being able to take the reins of your life and to direct your path, to direct your own path. No, another force is directing the path of the man and woman. Another force, which would be this so-called person of authority, is directing the path of this black man and woman. And so death is here. Death is here. This is what's actually causing the Jezebel spirit. I think this will be dealing with fear as well. Fear. Fear of death. Fear of judgment, punishment, okay? Because that's largely pushed within a church structure. It's keeping the black man and woman within this structure and underneath the spell of this Jezebel spirit, okay? So yeah, the Ace of Cups and then the Five of Pentacles here. So generally the Five of Pentacles in my other deck is, let me see. The Five of Pentacles in my other deck is two people that are actually left out in the cold outside of the church. Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can find this card for y'all real quick. For those of you who are not familiar, here it is. The Five of Pentacles. This is the same exact card, just a different deck, okay? Five of Pentacles. You see that down there. This is being left out in the cold outside of the church structure. This will be like one of those church windows with the stained glass. Two people, black man and woman. Ace of Cups. They have all of this love for the church structure. But ultimately, that love is what gets them in this position of being left out in the cold, abandoned, struggling. And it's like the blind leading the blind. Two people that are unhealed, trying to get through all of these changes that are happening, to get through the poverty, to get through the lack, to get through the illness, the struggling. It's a very deceptive energy I feel is coming from the church. This is what this Jezebel spirit is all about. It's one, it'll draw you in. It pulls you in through emotions. The Ace of Cups deals with emotions. It pulls you in through your emotions. And this is why the church structure is set up in a way where when you go in, the pastor, you ain't going to go into no church where the pastor just gets up and starts preaching. No, they're going to likely have some songs first. That's generally the structure. That's how they set this thing up. Okay, you have to first get to the emotions. That is the siphoning tube. Okay, if you go back and watch my other video, that is the siphoning tube. They need to get to you emotionally first. So they're going to play some songs. That's going to get you emotionally hyped. Either you're going to be hyped up or you're going to be in tears, okay? Then the pastor will get up and give his message. And before he finishes, he's not going to sit down until the drummer starts playing, okay? So he's going to have to really get you hyped up. So it's going to be, and the Lord said, and this and that, Y'all know how it goes, okay? And so everybody is getting hyped up. Then towards the end, he got to get you hyped up. So first you come in, get your emotions, and then he gets you hyped up, takes you up, high on that peak of emotions. Then when he comes back down and gets ready to end the sermon, now that's when they start playing the real soft music, because they're going to do the altar call. They're going to call you to the altar. And so that's where you go and you give your life. You give your life to Christ, which is not the black Christ or the black Messiah. You give your life to a illusionary false god, a white image, who is the Jezebel spirit, okay? The Jezebel spirit. You give your life. You are dedicating your life at the altar call. So you get called to this altar, which is usually depicted with this ritualistic symbolism. Generally, it's a dead man on a cross, okay, somewhere behind that altar. They'll have some candles lit, and they'll have a specific place where you're able to go to get on your knees, and to ask for forgiveness, but to also say that you are giving your life. You are establishing that you are at the mercy of this this false image of this white Christ. And as a result of that, you're hoping that you'll be able to receive something, justice, balancing out your karma, or some sort of financial reward for this act. But what happens is these people, they still end up in poverty. And this is why the question is, why is there a black church on every corner, but in these same communities, most people are in poverty, but the churches are rich though? This is what's happening with the black community, okay? They're being left out in the cold here, but they're feeding the Jezebel spirit. It's awakening within them sexual perversions or sexual energy. It's causing an overactive sacral chakra through whatever dark energies are over these connections by going to these church structures. It's much deeper than what meets the eye. I'll just tell y'all that. So I'm going to ask another question. Where's the money going? And then I'm going to close out. I hope this message it brought some clarity for you all. Those of you who have been asking these questions, because it's definitely brought in more clarity for me. So let me see. In terms of where's the money going? Where is the tithes going? All of this money that's being put into these black churches throughout these communities, one is on every corner. And so if you really think about it, every single Sunday, sometimes Saturdays and Tuesdays, you got people going in giving all of these tithes, especially in these mega churches, but yet the community is still poor. Why isn't the churches using this money? You could literally take that money and pay people's mortgages for a whole year. Why aren't they coming together and creating financial stability for the community? The same community that's supporting these churches and making these pastors rich. But please believe the pastors are not getting all of that money. The governmental structure, the U.S. corporation, has not established it for one black man to go into a church that has over, let's say a mega church, like something, maybe a church like a Eddie Long type of church. He probably had well over 20,000 members, and that's probably shortchanging it, okay? Or maybe a Bishop T.D. Jakes. They're not getting all that money and pocketing it. You best believe that. So it's going towards something. So where is this money going? That's the question. Where is the money that is being given to the church going? Let's see what comes out, y'all. I want to know. See, I knew this was going to come out, okay? And I'm going to pull from my other deck to clarify this. So, the Page of Wands, that's that excitement, okay? That's that excitement, that excitement to give, okay? The Eight of Swords is entrapment, bondage. But I want to show you from my other deck, because the Eight of Swords can also indicate prison. The Eight of Swords can also indicate prison, okay? The prison system. So where is this money going? I strongly feel like the churches are, I feel like in those mega churches, the pastors are aware of what's happening. Maybe in the smaller churches, they might not be aware of that. But somebody has to fund the prison system, okay? And where is the money going? I'm going to clarify this. What is the Eight of Swords? Where is the money going? The tithes of the church going? It's not going to the black community. So where is it going? We have ignorance coming out. So ignorance, yes, people not knowing. Of course, ignorance, because this person is blindfolded. So they don't know where the money is going. Those people who are giving from this place of excitement, you know, in hopes that it's going to maybe bring about some sort of miracle or blessing for them. Where is this money going? I don't even know if this is the right deck to pull. Okay. Power agenda. It's going towards a power agenda. So the U.S. corporation, I feel, the structure is going towards some sort of power agenda to keep certain people in a position of submission and others in a position of some in a position of superiority and others in a position of inferiority. And so in the ignorance of those who's giving, they think that they're giving, I don't know, I'm trying to think where I thought the money was going when I was giving tithes. You know, I tried not to think about it because the pastor that they always have that same quote, be a cheerful giver, okay? And so it's like you don't want to consider, well, where's the money going? What are you doing with it? Even though you see that his wife is always decked out. They got the newest cars. You probably ain't never been to their house, but if you have, you probably will see a huge house in comparison to you while you're sitting over here struggling, haven't been able to pay your rent in 2 months, you know, or the jewelry, you know, many of these pastors blinged out, but yet the members are in poverty. So in ignorance, people give from this passion and this excitement, hoping that it's going to open up certain doors and blessings for them, but it's actually going towards the power agenda. And like I said, the first thing I heard was prison. This person has cuffs on, okay? And in the other deck, the Eight of Swords is it looks like the Eight of Swords looks like someone who is in prison, okay? And sometimes it's a representation of that. So I feel like the tithing money is often going to the prison system, and so people don't realize that they're actually paying towards the enslavement or the imprisonment of their brothers and sisters, okay? Because we know that this prison system is mostly populated with black men, especially. And so if you consider that the church is predominantly black women and the prison system is predominantly black men, and the black woman is the one who's predominantly the one who's giving the money in the church because she's the one that's there the most, then that would say that she's actually funding the enslavement of her king. And so on a physical level, that's how it looks. But on a spiritual level, she is giving her currency. Money is currency. She's giving her energy towards, and her spiritual energy towards the enslavement, the entrapment of her king. Which is why the king on the chessboard can only move but so far. He's very limited on how far he can go because behind the scenes, in her ignorance, in the ignorance of the black woman, she's actually playing a large role in his lack of ability to be able to move around, limiting him. And that's how they want it. Hold on, y'all. That's how they want it because it has an effect in the spiritual realm. They understand that things that are done physically have a direct impact on how it plays out in the spiritual realm as well. And so let me just see. I'm going to clarify once again. Where is the money going? In the black church? Where are these tithes going? What are the tithes being used for? What are the tithes being used for? So I have the Knight of Cups in the reverse and the Seven of Cups in the upright. This is another card that deals with confusion, okay? And this is that energy of no emotional no emotional attachment, something about no emotions involved in this, but going towards confusion. Actually, I'm seeing this as the money is going towards someone who's selfish. Okay, so a pastor who's not receiving this from a space of love, okay, because he's in his ego. A lot of egotistical pastors who are using this money to just be able to candy pick, to be able to window shop, to be able to get whatever it is that they want, okay? That's what I'm feeling like the money is also going towards. Because you got the jewelry here, you got, all of these different things. The pastor is using the money. So I feel like it's going towards a power agenda, and the ignorance of those that's giving it. They're giving it from a space of love, but it's not being received with that, okay? They're taking this money and they're using it to their own advantage, but to the disadvantage of those who's giving, because they're not receiving anything back. Many times you'll find that you can be at a church for 10 years or more, giving to that church every single Sunday, but the moment you have a financial problem, you got to go through 10 different people just to get to the pastor, first of all. And then by the time you get to the pastor to make your request, they're telling you, well, the money is going towards this church fund and this, this, and the money is tied up here and there and everywhere. And many people end up getting rejected and turned away. Every once in a while, you'll have somebody that's able to receive help, but that's rare, okay? And so it's going towards people's selfish desires. It's going towards a power agenda. Yeah. It's going towards pretty much your own demise, okay? Because there's still stress. There's still emotional imbalance. There's still lack of self-love. There's still lack of intuitive connections, because the Queen of Cups in the upright is someone who is spiritually connected. She possesses the wisdom. She's able to see. She possesses the gift of knowing inside of this cup. But in the reverse, that's somebody who's completely disconnected spiritually. And the Nine of Swords, you're given this money, but you're still in this stressful place of feeling like you're taking all of these losses here. This Four of Wands in the reverse, unstable household, unstable family structure. So this money is not, I feel like it's not going towards, You're giving, you're stuck, but you're not receiving anything in return, okay? Eight of Cups in the reverse, not being able to move forward, but giving, though, with the Page of Pentacles here, but you're not receiving anything in return. Giving to who? The egotistical pastor, or the person who sits even above the pastor. Somebody is taking all of this money and they're keeping it to themselves, because the King of Pentacles is somebody who is very wealthy. The King of Wands can be somebody who's very arrogant, okay? And so you're giving to someone's ego. You're stroking someone else's ego by making them rich. Meanwhile, you're here stressed out, okay? You're here stressed out, feeling trapped, okay? And giving to a power agenda. Your home is in disarray. You're not able to maintain your own bills, okay? And meanwhile, they're out candy picking, window shopping, and getting all of this fancy, fancy clothes, crowning themselves and everything else, stability, got the castle in the background. It's not going towards while you're stuck. They got the castle in the look, the Empress is in reverse. There's that lack of self-love. While you're stuck in this energy of lack of self-love and not being able to move, you're sacrificing yourself. because you're so focused in on the fact that, well, traditionally this is what's right, and you know, my mother did this, my grandmother did this, my aunt did this, we all went to church, we did this since we was children, and based on what the pastor said, if you step outside of that, you're going to go to hell. And but there's still no growth. So this is what I wanted to do this for. I wanted to know why there's so many churches on every corner in the black community, a church, a currency exchange, a mom and pop store, but there's still no growth. There's still no progress. There's still a high crime rate. There's still a lot of lack of self-love, and hatred amongst our own. It's only because the church is built to siphon the energy of those who are underneath the confounds of the church structure, who are influenced by the church structure. They siphon the energy. You're feeding the Jezebel spirit, which is your sexual energy, okay? And it's also causing a lot of confusion in terms of your sexual energy, in terms of your sexual desires, which direction you want to go in. It's causing the men to feel emasculated. It's causing the women to have lack of self-love, lack of personal power, and so they get themselves caught up in these relationships where they're wasting their sexual energy. You saw that there's a dark energy over the connections, and so this is what has come out in regards to this message. I hope you all stuck with me and you was able to gain some clarity. I will see you all at the next message.